Welcome to this video series. It is a split of 3 videos. First, we are looking into setting it up with the Quest 3 in Virtual Desktop and Steam VR runtime to be able to use Twitch chat, YouTube chats while we are streaming. Secondly, we will look on setting it up for my next vacation with a caravan. I have the ROG license a longer time, and AMS 2 is an impressive simulator to play with that. Last but not least, we will check around a little bit of the newest update, check the handling, and see what has changed and how it has been improved. So keep thumbs up, press subscribe, and then see you soon. Let's dive right into my setups for AMS2 for streaming purposes. So seeing chat while streaming Automobilista 2. And I'm using the Quest 3 together with a Bobo VR S3 Pro because I actually like the battery pack for weight balance. It's actually very convenient, even for longer times. And you have a ventilator system up here, which keeps your forehead cool, which is, from my perspective, a game changer. But again, it's based on what your people prefer. But I really enjoyed it, and it was one of my most important purchase for the Quest 3 as accessory. So how do we do these things now? We don't use OpenXR when we are streaming because I want to see chats while I'm streaming. So the biggest performance and the best performance I'm getting with OpenXR, so I can run 80 frames per second, 80 hertz. I have done another video that you can see here now popping up. But when you're streaming, you actually want to see the chats. And when you want to see the chats, you require the Steam VR runtime, which is actually eating resources. So I have to go down from my refresh rate. I have to go down to 72 hertz to get stable frames in our conditions, to then make sure that we have a fluent experience, but also a good stream and being able to follow the chat. Hearing all the time TTS is something that, for sure you can do that. But if you have like 10 chatters and you get like 100 chat messages, it just blah, 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 and it's talking all the time, which is actually very distracting. So hearing it is, from my perspective, this distracting experience. It's good to see the chat, but there are also opportunities at the end of the day to don't show the chat or don't show certain things while you're streaming. I will show you how that works, and then let's dive into the video number 1 of 3. First things first, we are starting with setting up Virtual Desktop Streamer. As you can see here, we are using the preferred codec AV1, simply because if I'm streaming and gaming, I actually get some serious performance hit if both is running through H.264. And I be very honest, AV1 looks pretty amazing, so therefore I would just go with that. I'm activating adaptive quantization, and I'm also have 2-pass encoding. In general, it is looking wonderful, even with 200 Mbit. That we are currently using as the maximum that the Quest 3 is capable of encoding and decoding. Last but not least, and this is very important, we are using Steam VR when we are streaming, simply to get the application live running, which is showing us the chat while we are streaming. Otherwise, go with VDXR because that definitely has a way better performance. It is to be expected that you gain 20% performance just by changing the runtime to VDXR. Let's go into my settings in Virtual Desktop on the glasses. The first one is under settings. I have not selected use optimal resolution because I'm running 4K, and all the time it does use the optimal resolution, changes your resolution, and I want to just keep my resolution so it doesn't change back and forth the resolutions. Virtual Desktop, for whatever reason, does not switch back. So I am running 4K, I'm running Virtual Desktop, and then it is lowering the resolution, and then I have to go back and then change it again, which is pretty awful. So therefore, I have not selected use optimal resolutions. As said, we're running a very beefy PC, so I am setting all the time my graphics settings to godlike. I'm using 72 frames per second or 72 hertz, simply because with the Steam VR runtime, we lose a bit of performance, and that's the reason why we have to go down a little bit. With openings hour, I keep stable 80 frames, and that's just the difference between streaming and not streaming. My bitrate is up to 200 megabytes per second. I'm using here as well a very powerful Wi-Fi router that you see in the description. And then we have sharpening set to 85%. I like it very sharp. And what is a big change here compared to Airlink or Steam Link is the Snapdragon Game Super Resolution. It is actually upscaling the image with the processor that is on the Quest 3, so which is a very great feature. Everything else is, as you can see it here right now, make sure that we have less stuttering, make sure that the colors look a little bit more vibrant, and the performance overlay, I'm starting with it practically all the time, but then you can deactivate it while you are gaming by just pressing both thumbs on the controllers. That's it for Virtual Desktop. Now let's hit my setup with Live. So Live is a very powerful tool which has a lot of features that you can make use of. I'm not going into all of these details. I'm just checking the one that I need, and this is the Streamer Kit. The Streamer Kit here is what you can see. You have to connect your profiles like Twitch, YouTube, Discord, whatever you want to use while you are streaming and checking then in your stream. Secondly, you can change the position of the chat window as you're liking. So what I did is I reduced a little bit the height because it was very tall, I would say. I'll reduce it down a little bit. And what I also did is I changed the position based on my liking. So it's while I'm driving a little bit upward my screen, like on the level of the roof. And there at the end of the day is the chat running. So I am not distracted while I'm driving, but I can actually on the fast menu look up and then read it. And I have actually chosen head follower simply because it then follows also my head movements, which is from my perspective a very decent setup. That's it for Live. And now we are jumping into the game. So this is how I can see the simulation now from my glasses. And what you can see here is super crystal graphics, very detailed, very nice lighting. And you can follow me now for a few meters on the Nordschleife with the BMW M4 GT3. Let's go. This is it. Setting up the Quest 3 in AMS2 with the virtual desktop, but SteamVR runtime to get chats running with Live, but Getty, and still have the advantages of virtual desktop. And you also receive some repressions. You can also follow me tomorrow live when streaming AMS2 into a community race. Thanks for watching. Let me there a subscription or just give me a thumbs up. It really helped my channel grow. Thank you very much, and talk to you in video number 2.